telling you is BS. I want you to understand that you're whole and powerful and beautiful and that you don't have to follow in these footsteps. Here's an alternative. I came from right where you came from. And here's what I've done thus far. You know what I'm saying? And I want to show you that that is not the exact reality that's going on. That's a reality that somebody wants you to believe. So, so going into that bag, with these young women and seeing the light bulb go off and say, oh, nobody ever told me that I didn't have to do that. You feel what I'm saying? But I can create my own reality, which is part of phenomenal use. I can create my own reality, that I could do something different and that I could actually create a path for my. Nobody's ever told me that. So I went in there saying that. You know what I'm saying? So that was the journey. Was the journey of really getting to the point where giving them an alternative possibility. Just the possibility. You know what I'm saying? Was really important.
And I think it's important that they see something different.
Yes.
Because like you said, once you're faced with the same thing day in, day out, you believe that and take that in as this is my reality. This is all that it's going to be.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
but there is something different. Now, your one woman play, was that also a part of that process to offer the empowerment and of the different viewpoint?
Yes, ma'am. So the show is called Phenomenal Everywhere. Solo play. It's about my self-love journey coming from North Philadelphia, crack epidemic. And then living on 5 continents as a black woman, young black woman, because I'm still exploring the world. And it's the first time it's ever been done. And I talk about my own struggles as a person with low self-esteem, insecure, not feeling beautiful enough, not feeling whole enough, in a world that tells me that, we're inferior. You're not enough. You need to have this. Why you don't have that? You suck it in, turn it over. Like, what I mean? All those things.
Yeah.
All the stuff.
Yes.
So my whole struggle with that, and then me overcoming that by learning my value and my worth and my wholeness and my sauce and my phenomenality. But then my reaction to the world, literally, as a woman traveling, living in Paris, my reaction to Paris as a young woman coming from, again, North Philadelphia, my reaction to living in Ghana, my reaction to, traveling and being in Senegal, my reaction to being in Asia, living in Thailand, like this, and then how they saw me. So it's kind of like all these kind of funny anecdotes of how they saw me, how I saw them, you know what I mean? My experience. And I think what was so powerful about Paris to me, my first experience of being outside of the country, was I realized that there were so many different realities. So here's an example. In North Philadelphia, if somebody gets 2 inches from your face, you're punching them. Period. Okay. Period. It's just you're not going to get close and they're going to in terms of arguing, you're going to argue. Right. And you get close to someone and you're going to get punched. Okay. I was in Paris and I would see people arguing and they would be literally 2 inches from each other arguing and no violence, no fight would happen. And I'm like, oh my God, people really don't fight? Because there would already been a fight. You know what I'm saying? Right. There would have already been a fight. You know what I'm saying? So just that I just remember that very vivid comparison when I was like, wow. So there were so many different other experiences of me. I talked about, this is in my shows. It's funny, about how when I was walking along the Seine, black girl, I had locks at the time. Okay. And a white guy came up to me and asked me if I was a nanny for the children in the community. Oh. I was like, no, I'm a student here. You know what I'm saying? And it was the stereotypes that people put on me. Right, exactly. African women that came to Paris, they were working as, servants, but I was a student. And he didn't fathom that. But he fathomed that I was a servant. So those kind of anecdotes. Now, or in contrast, living in Thailand and race not really being an issue. Race, yes. The issue for me was about green. You got green, you're good, right? You know what I mean? You got the green, we're good. You know what I mean? So it wasn't about race. It wasn't about, are you the black student or the black tourist or the black whatever. It's you're foreign. You carry the green. We want the green, and we're fine. Now, I was a rare Black tourist at the time.
Right. Okay.
Whatever. When I first went, I went 4 times, and then I moved there. I was like, oh my God, I'm in love with Thailand. But my point is, so race being an issue, race not being an issue, being a woman being an issue, not being an issue, being single, not being an issue, not being, I mean, there's so many different, speaking English, you know what I mean?
Right.
Versus speaking Spanish. People loving that I'm an English speaker so they can learn English from me when I went to a Spanish country. Like all of these different things that were edified and different ways people saw me was really freeing because it got me out of that box of where you're just a Black woman. Okay, what does that mean? It means so many different things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly. Well, you know, and that's key what you just said. They saw you. You know, who you were authentically as a human. Not without any other label, but just a human being. Now, where have you lived?
So we have Paris, so Europe. We have I lived in Ghana.
Okay.
I lived in Malaysia. I lived in Thailand. I lived in Colombia.
Okay.
And I live in Mexico now. What's anything? Am I missing anything? And that's it. But I've traveled to over 50 countries. I've lived on 5 continents. So these are
okay.
I mean, yeah, 5 places I live.
And the majority, if not all of your travel, has it been solo travel?
Yes. I mean, sometimes I meet people there, but like on the plane, it's just me. Yeah. On the plane.
And how is that experience? Because I know, you know, some of us, you know, we may not have that comfort level to just get up and go somewhere by ourselves. How has that been for you? What's been your experience?
I mean, I've always, you know, as a young person, so funny because my mom has a story about, she said, you know, she said when I was 4 years old, I told her I can't wait to be 5 so I can go places by myself. At 4, I was like, already with
like, I
can't wait to be 5 so I can go places by myself because, you know, they got to hold my hand at 4, right?
Right.
So that was like an inlet to, you know, me just kind of being a person that really wanted to kind of go and kind of go my thing. So I think it was in me, but definitely, I like the whole, because I feel like, so it's interesting. A part of in my show, I talk about how my mother's sister, my aunt, when she went to Senegal to visit, she went with a tour guide and they had a tour group. And so I lived in Paris and I visited Senegal from Paris because Paris, the car flight is really short and it's also not just shorter than the States. And it's inexpensive. It's not as expensive from obviously coming from the States. I said, okay, for spring break, I'm going to Senegal. So I go to Senegal and I tell my mom I'm going to go by myself.
Okay.
And she tells
my
mom
said.
And my mom was fine. My mom's always been fine. She's cool as cucumber, cooler than what's it? Polar bear's toenails. She's always been cool because I think she trusted me to know how to navigate things. But my aunt was the one that was afraid. So she was in my mom's ear like, oh, you can't go to Senegal by yourself. You know, when I was there, I had, you know, tour guides and, you know, they won't let us leave by ourselves and blah, blah, blah. So I knew, though, just from being resourced. Now, keep in mind, my aunt was from North Philly and she had moved, whatever, but she still had this mentality, the limited mentality of, you know, you got to do it a certain way. But I had been resourced through NYU. Remember that?
Right.
I had been resourced through being supported by my school, which was NYU en France. So my point is this. Basically, at the end of the day, me traveling by myself made me realize how to tap into resources. So I didn't just go to Dakar and I just got off the plane and hung out. Like I had at the time, emailed people about me coming and where I can go. So there was a thing called the African American House. So I actually found the African American House and they were all excited that I was coming. And so I actually stayed at the African American House. You get what I'm saying? So I was a student. So I knew how to like tap into resources. So I wasn't afraid in that capacity. And then once I got to the African American House, they were showing me around. I met people. I met a guy on the street. He took me out. Like it was just, See, but I also know that I'm very protected. You see, I know
Yeah.
that about myself. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Okay.
me being walking on the street in that car, I know I'm protected, even when I met that guy. And that's the thing that you were saying, which is really important. I found that being out of the country is safer than being in the country sometimes.
Absolutely.
So I didn't have
Absolutely.
the same fear. At the end of the day, no, I didn't feel any kind of way about traveling solo when I was resourced.
Okay.
And now today, I'm just so used to saying I want to go here, I do it. Because I think it's great to connect and build with people. That's why when I go places, I definitely connect with folks. But
Right. Yeah.
if I'm waiting for folks to say, oh, let's go, and they don't want to go, like, I got to go.
Yeah, that's the thing about not being solo.
Yes, I got to go. I got to roll deuces. You know what I'm saying? So no, I mean, to me at this point, I mean, I've done it so much now, but to me, it's free. To me, it's fun. But I definitely am in a phase of my life now where I definitely want to travel with, create a family and travel with family as well. So I've done so much solo travel. I've, like I said, I've been around the world, and I'm just grateful for the things that I've seen. But now it's like, I don't know what it's like to travel as a family. You know what I mean? And I haven't had that experience yet. So.
Okay. Now, of all the places that you have been, which had the most impact on you?
Great question. Love that question.
Just pick one.
You can so many. Okay, because and I know what, I would answer different places for different reasons. Okay. I'm just gonna go with this one because it's easy, it's quick, and it's fun to me. Food.
Okay. All right.
Food.
Yeah.
Food. So Malaysia. I was shocked. Malaysia is a Muslim country. I lived in Penang. And Penang is I like what we call second cities. Mm-hmm. And second cities are places like, so it wouldn't be the first city in Malaysia would be KL, Kuala Lumpur. The second city would be Penang. The first city in Thailand would be Bangkok. The second city would be Chiang Mai. So it's a smaller offshoot, different kind of experience, but it's a city. Okay. My point is, it impacted me because, first of all, it was a Muslim country, and it was interesting. I had a lot of stories too about that, and we'll talk about that another time. But the short version of it is that I like how Muslim countries feel. This is weird because if I lived there, like if I was an actual citizen, I'd probably have a different opinion. Right. So I'm from the outside looking in, but I liked how there was order. Like there was order. Contrast to Thailand, where a lot of sex tourism happens. Yes. And so there isn't that, I mean, there's order, but there's, things are allowed because people have money. Where in Malaysia it was like, no, I don't care how much money you have, we're falling in line. You're going to be, you know what I'm saying? But the food in Malaysia was the best in the world. At first I thought it was Thailand. Oh, wow. At first it was like Thailand, oh my God, it's the food. It is really good. It's still really good. Okay. But to me, Malaysia food is the best in the world because there's a lot of fusion. They have three ethnic groups there. They have Chinese, they have the Malay, and they have the Indians. Okay. So those three groups have fusion foods. And right.
That makes me happy just hearing it.
Yes, the dance you do. It's the dance. You do like a little wiggle. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So you got the curry and the curry and the Chinese, and then you got the God, why am I blanking? The tandoori chicken and you got all of this, you know what I mean? And it's all like a fusion. So it was really impactful because it was the best food I've ever had. It's so funny. The first time I went to Malaysia, and I got so many different stories as to what else impacted my life. But I just want to go with this one because the food is just like, yes. But the first time I went to Malaysia, I went on a border run. And a border run is basically if you are a visa. When you go to a place, you can either apply for a visa or you get a visa on arrival. And certain countries give you a certain amount of time. And if you overstep that time, you have to leave the country and come right back for a border run. You go to the border and run right back. And certain countries have stopped that because people just like walk really off over the bridge and then walk over the line and then
walk right back.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I went on a border run to Malaysia from Thailand, and I stayed in this hotel, and I obviously had to eat food. I went to this one restaurant called Hamidia.
Okay.
One day, every single day, I went to that same restaurant. Now, this is like the first time I'm ever in a country. You know what I mean? You don't go to 5 different.
Right.
No. That one restaurant I went to every single day, that food was so good. I was like, oh my God.
Goodness.
You know what I'm saying? So
I don't want anything else.
I didn't want to like risk it. It might have been great elsewhere, but I just knew for a fact that her media had the best food that I've ever had in my life. It was so good. So my point is, it was impactful in the way that it just, again, my palate was expanded more than it could ever be expanded. But again, I got so many other stories, but I'm gonna stop with that one.
And now you are living in Mexico.
Yes, I am.
So was that I think I'll just go to Mexico, or I've been to Mexico before? It's just because I've read, some stories about women moving to Mexico, especially women of color. So what got you there?
So Mexico, Mexico, I basically, I forgot to say I was in Canada. Before I came here, I was living in Montreal. Montreal is my favorite city in the world. It was my favorite city in the world. And I was living in Montreal. COVID happened. And one of the things I loved about Montreal was that obviously it was like literally exploding with art and culture. And when COVID happened, everything shut down, as we all know. And so the beautiful, amazing, fantabulous city that I love just disappeared. And so I was like up in Montreal. And so ultimately I had to make a decision. I was actually locked behind the border because I was an American citizen that was there that had an apartment. And I couldn't really leave and come back because if I was an American citizen, I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So it was getting cold. We were still on a lockdown. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? So I had a friend that was down here and she was like, oh, we're down here. Come here and see what's going on. So I came. First place I landed was Playa del Carmen. Playa del Carmen is right by Cancun. And so I was like, all right, let me just hang out for a year and see how it is because COVID was happening. I'm like, I'd rather be somewhere warm than being freezing up in Montreal and nothing happening. Right. It's boring. It's whack. It's not what I wanted to be. Long story short. So I came down. Playa didn't work. I moved to another place called Merida. That didn't work for me. It was super, super hot. And so I was just exploring. So I was trying to find my place. But to answer your point, Mexico was a let me see what happens kind of place. You know what I mean? Because the world was changing. And Montreal, if there was no COVID, I would still be there. But there's COVID, and COVID is very, it's just very pervasive, and we don't know when the end is coming. Yeah. The weather's amazing. The people are really kind. I mean, I hate that. It is what it is, but I hate that people have these stereotypes about Mexico. They're definitely, there's the element is here. The element is everywhere, though. But it's not pervasive in ways if you're not on that frequency. You know what I mean? But the people have been really kind. Low drama where I've been. It's always low drama. No confusion. For the most part, just peace and love. You know what I mean? It's just different. Like quality. To me, one of the reasons why I like being out of the States is because my values have changed in a major way. Like, it's all about hustle and,
right.
And, go. Fight money. Everything is money. And like, you don't really get an opportunity to live and enjoy. And to me, like that was my thing, is living and enjoying.
So let me ask you, Lacey, what would you say to that little girl in North Philly? What would you tell her now?
I would say that life expands. I would say that life evolves. I would say that you're going to see so many things that you never thought you'd see, and that the world is bigger than the box they try to put you in. You are bigger than the box they try to put you in. And you need to know that when the box comes, you can always kick it away. There is no box for you. You are phenomenal everywhere. So when you travel, when you do something, when you go, when you experience, stay open to being all of you and